This video is brought to you by Patterson Car Care. Get double of premium original detail product for half the price. Head over to pattersoncarcare.com or go to the link in the description below. When you're into cars, window shopping can be dangerous. But what if you're looking for something cool, unique, different, and also decide to turn it into a tiny RV or a tiny home? That's exactly what my buddy Andy Stock decided to do. He took this old retired Ford ambulance and converted it essentially into a tiny home. So he invited me out to drive his ambulance, talk about what the build process was and what it's like to even own a retired ambulance. So let's go for a drive and find out. Andy Stock, it's been how long?
Like 6 years, I think.
It's too long.
It's been a while.
Too long. If you don't remember Andy, he had this bright orange Nissan Sentra. One of my most good days of car reviews.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Fun.
And there was a gnome in the back seat.
Should have brought it.
There was a gnome in the back seat, and it was super fun. And we're introducing
Ashley. Hi.
She's just hanging out in the back during all this because look how comfortable it is.
Yeah.
So, what are we in, and why did you buy this thing?
All right, so we're in a 97, or excuse me, technically a 98 Ford E350 7.3 liter Power Stroke.
Sure. It's Big Bertha too.
Yeah,
I'm not
Big
used to
Bertha.
this. Yeah.
Technically it's a 98, but it's really a 97 as far as motor goes. Apparently there was some kind of change in 98 where they did some revamping. So it's the first of the 7.3 Power Strokes, but it's an old ambulance, and we kind of took it from a older guy who had different goals as us, and we converted it to an RV, more or less to tow my Miata to and from the racetrack, and we'd have something comfortable to sleep in rather than just sleeping in tents and driving the car to and from the track. So sometimes you don't get your car driving back. Just happened to us.
It's always smart.
Yeah,
the older you get, the more you realize that it's good to have a trailer.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when you're younger, you're like, no, bro, I want my daily to be my race car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what's funny is this is becoming almost like a trend of car guys now, using their imagination to do something completely different, because they could just go buy an old RV, you know, they could go buy something, but they're like, nah dog, I use my project car mind and do something. It's like little tiny house stuff,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and they put it in a vehicle and it's like a perfect world for everybody.
Yeah. And it kind of worked out well because we want to do some more traveling, so we figured like kind of an RV, but you know, to our own specifications, we can kind of build it and do some traveling as well. So we go all over the country, going to if we want to go to Road Atlanta for track days down there, we can do that, and sleep 3 days on the way down there.
So the first thing a lot of people are gonna say is like my buddy Gingium, he has the adventure bus, and I drove that when it wasn't done yet.
Okay.
So it was just like a mattress.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
just carpet and a mattress. And then a year later, it's a house.
Yeah,
like he's literally got like an RV, and that's always been fascinating to me. I was like, more people are gonna do this kind of stuff. You watch, because if you think about it, you took this vehicle, like who was gonna love this vehicle? It's gonna rot in a field for how long? Forever.
Something different, yeah. Luckily you can stand up in this model versus a standard van. You couldn't, so kind of worked out. Definitely some wiring nightmares as far as a decommissioned ambulance goes.
So what's this? You have like a rear camera.
Yeah, it's a rear camera just so you can see a pulling trailer behind you.
So did you just mount that on the back and then wire it in? And
yeah, it's actually wireless, but yeah, it's just so you can see any trailer that's behind you.
You can stand up in here. It's got the ladder on the back.
Yeah.
You also did this nice waterfall I really liked. You took some old wood you found and then just made it work.
Yeah, our whole thing was like, you see van builds all throughout Instagram of, it looks like someone spent $100,000 building these things. They're beautiful, and obviously I didn't have that kind of budget, and I didn't want to, skimp on the craftsmanship. So the whole goal was to build it with a little bit of a budget in mind. So we used a lot of reclaimed pallet wood, used a lot of like old furniture that we tore apart and reclaimed as well.
Oh, really?
So the whole goal was to keep it relatively budget as much as we could, but still have it, create something beautiful with it. So you don't need $10,000 worth of material to make something cool.
I think that's a misconception, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like, when it comes to this type of project, you're like, oh, I wish I could, but I can't. It's like with enough research, enough, and maybe, and enough messing up a few times, and
definitely.
stuff like that. So I also noticed you told me there's solar panels on the top. So how does that work?
Yeah, so we have 2 solar panels, both 100 watt apiece, and they're charging a 100 amp hour battery in the back that's not related to any instruments in the vehicle. They have that has its own house batteries. and that just powers, you know, any USB ports we need, any if we decide to wire in a refrigerator or a fan, anything like that, we can you know, turn off solar power without actually worrying about depleting the power of the, you know, the actual van batteries.
Just, you kept everything. You kept the ladder, you kept the lights, you kept the roof. And you say the siren doesn't work, but the lights still work,
siren,
right?
yeah, so the sirens, like I guess whatever device was used to, it's called a frequency sweep, but apparently that was removed. That's what makes it do the wee-woo noise.
Okay.
The sirens were still in there, like the actual speakers, but the device to make it work wasn't, so I just abandoned that. And all the lights were still there, but the strobe, I guess, device was gone. So we can power them on. I just ran them some switches down here, so they'll turn on and they'll stay on, but they don't flash. Honestly, if the sirens were hooked up, I'd still keep them hooked up. But
well, imagine if you had like a European style, like like just like a crank horn, basically. That's why I've never put like a train horn or anything on anything, because I would be that guy everywhere. You were saying that the mattress also is a couch too?
Yeah, it folds in half.
Yeah, so like if we need to, if we're moving more than 2 people, I guess, or more than 3 people, we can fold it backward and it'll kind of convert into a little couch. So we'll have some back seats as well, rather than just...
That beats a tent so much.
Yes,
like
definitely.
in every way. Because like, the appeal of going to events and sleeping overnight, it's there, right? You're like, oh, cool, I get to like hang out and get a good vibe from all the fellow racers and or just spectators, right? You go overnight, you get a tent, you camp out, but then you have to go someplace to shower and you need to clean yourself up, and it's just like
no privacy,
zero privacy. But with some kind of vehicle, you have privacy.
Exactly.
And also I love how the doors all still work, like the clamshell doors, and everything. Is it 6 doors in the whole thing?
6 doors. And it's, to any Ford guy, I'm sure they know the problem when all the cables and all the door latches always break. They just rot away.
God.
It's the biggest pain in the ass. So we've had to replace like every cable at least twice. And
really?
Yeah, it's because each one has 2, you know, top and bottom latch. So.
Because how many miles does this thing have?
It's 210, something between.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's seen some duty.
Yeah, it's seen some duty. Yeah.
It's actually, you know what? Now that I think of it, that's not too bad.
For diesels, I'm told it's not really that bad, but specifically with Power Strokes, apparently 200,000 is like right where you start having injector issues.
Okay, sure.
And apparently, yeah, I can't say this thing isn't a money pit because I had to have all 8 injectors done and all 8 glow plugs, and that cost more than the vehicle cost. Sadly, I had to swallow that one, but
it's like you have like the wiring for everything through the roof too.
Oh yeah, I can lower that. Yeah, this whole thing kind of. It goes down. It's a giant motherboard, and it's.
Oh wow!
I remember I discovered that, and I was like, "That's gonna stay closed."
Yeah, don't touch it
in
case there's something you mess up by accident.
Exactly.
But there's some people watching right now going, "I'm an engineer. I would mess with everything," you know.
No, I'm gonna leave it as it is.
I would leave it as it is. But so, other than the cables, is there anything else notorious you ran into with this thing?
Yes, we noticed. We don't know for sure, but when we lifted when we got it, it still looked like an ambulance. It still had all the cabinets. It didn't have a gurney or anything, but it was all kind of grimy. So we weren't gonna really try to save anything except maybe a few cabinets.
Okay.
So we gutted everything, and when we lifted the floorboards, there was a bunch of what looked like blood stains to us. We don't know. And from any research I've done, I've been told that ambulances like notoriously there's no way you'd ever be able to clean out all the blood from all the crevices.
Well, you have to think what's kind of neat about this project too is you have to think about the history of this vehicle, everything it's been through.
Well, this one particularly has a very strange history because it wasn't just an ambulance. It was, you can probably see all the weird Cheerwine logos all over the place.
Okay.
I don't really like Cheerwine that much. It's fine, I guess.
It's a North Carolina thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But after this thing was a decommissioned ambulance, I guess Cheerwine got a hold of it and they wrapped it entirely with Cheerwine vinyl livery, and put these giant cherries on top, and made I guess a moving promo vehicle because there's Cheerwine
rolling
stains
billboard.
everywhere. Yeah, exactly. Very strange.
So do you think they went to events and sold Cheerwine?
Yes, because all the cabinets had rings where there was soda sitting.
Okay.
And there all of them were filled with soda at some point. So the blood might have just been soda. We don't know.
Could you imagine look, both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrible things, cute things.
Exactly.
Oh, we're a soda stand.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I asked you that. That's interesting. That's crazy.
It's definitely had a weird life. Yeah.
I wonder what I feel like every government vehicle or commissioned vehicle has some crazy story.
Some kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
What's one thing that's kind of sucks about having a fleet vehicle of some sort is, especially ambulances, is that the mileage doesn't reflect the actual wear, because these things idle all day.
That's all they do.
All they do is just sit for hours idling, and there's no running hours, like, you know, odometer or whatever.
That's what the Crown Vics were made for.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they're made to literally idle. Like, they just sit there for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, and if they're not idling, they get turned on and driven really hard for the next 10 minutes, and then, so you get a little bit more wear and tear on ambulances than you would like a work van. So.
Yeah. This is the era of Ford where everything was super parts binned out.
Oh my God.
So like, this is the Crown Vic steering wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's got like the dash panel from the other E-Series vans and like everything.
It's super convenient because you go to a junkyard and everything's there for you.
These were in Crown Vics, the window switches were like in Mustangs and everything.
Expeditions,
like, Expeditions, Explorers, like you name it, they put it on the truck. It was just like all the same.
Yeah. I have towed my friend's motorcycle trailer with my motorcycle on it, and you can't even notice it at all. You just kind of hear it every once in a while, and you'll forget it's there if you're not careful. But it weighs so much, and you know it has.
What does it weigh? Do you know?
Honestly, I have no idea.
It's a lot. We'll just say it's a lot. Cause when you go around a turn, it's like, whoa. No wonder they get into the hospital later than a car would.
Yeah, exactly.
I always just think about I'm sure there's a lot of EMTs watching, but I always think about the EMTs who are driving while crazy stuff is going on.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Like, hey, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. Just focus on the road.
Yeah.
Just zone out. I think my last main question is, so you've gone through the whole project car thing, because you got a Miata, but you also have the Sentra. So you've gone through that.
Yes.
Now going from, say, like the project car lifestyle, where it's more about either going fast or looking pretty, than going to basically a mobile tiny home, what would you say is the main difference, or is it a similar philosophy?
I will say it's nice going to something, obviously this isn't pretty by any means.
Yeah.
It's nice going to something that you don't have to worry about every ding and scratch. Like as y'all have seen, it's, you know, there's paint chipping and there's a little bit of rust, like it doesn't matter. So it's nice just getting in something, loading your bikes in it, whatever, and not worrying about it worse. It's like having a, you know, your Miata, or my Miata, I guess, where it's like, you know, it's everything's particular. I have to, you know, check every nut and bolt before I go to track. I want the paint to be as good as possible. You know, it's just nice having that little bit of release. You can get in it, and if someone opens the door on you, you don't really care. You know,
right.
So that's been nice, and it's just like the practicality of it. I mean, you can load anything in it. Like it's, you know, I can pull, like if I need center blocks for the fire pit out back, there's no issue doing that.
Oh look, you're gonna throw it in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's whatever.
Fine.
Just try not to.
It's like having a truck but not having a truck at the same time. It's weird. Because most people think, first thing I do, go buy an F-150 or your Dodge Ram or whatever, and you're like, I'll buy an ambulance. Well, on that note, what do y'all think about Andy's ambulance? And by the way, if you guys can figure out where the gnome is in the Sentra, go watch that, because it's an oldie. But on that note, I upload every Tuesday. I'm going around a turn. I gotta focus. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye!